At 1 a.m., Jason Carter came home. I hadn't gone to sleep yet. He looked a little surprised. I had told him before there was no need to wait up for him, but I wanted to wait. Smiling, I leaned into him. It's perfectly natural for a wife to wait for her husband to come home. He paused as he was taking off his watch. Whatever you want. Only a small lamp was lit in the living room, casting a dim glow. In that light, his features looked almost unreal, too perfect to be human. Every time I looked at him straight on, I couldn't help but marvel. I missed you a lot today, I said softly, but my words were cut short when Jason frowned and looked at me. What are you wearing? New pajamas, I replied. Do you like them? Don't wear stuff like that again, he said, turning toward the guest bedroom. Jason, I called out, stopping him. It's my birthday today. Can't you just stay with me for a little while? He paused. Happy birthday. I'm really tired tonight. We'll talk another time. With that, he stepped into the room and locked the door behind him, leaving me standing in the living room in my semi-sheer pajamas like a complete idiot. We'd been married for 6 months, and Jason still kept me at a cold distance. No matter how I tried to flirt with him, he never reacted at all. It was like he had no desires, no emotions, like some kind of ascetic monk. The media always said Jason Carter was different from those other Playboy heirs. The Carter family had raised him under strict discipline, turning him into a refined gentleman of the upper elite. But I had seen another side of him, a side that had gone absolutely wild. And once you see that side, you can't help but want to see it again. But Jason had made it very clear with his actions. That night had been nothing but a mistake. My phone buzzed. It was a message from my best friend Lily. Have you seen the trending topic? If not, promise me you won't get mad when you do. What happened? I replied and logged into Weibo. The headline jumped out at me. Jason Carter spotted late at night with a beautiful woman, and I recognized her. It was Emma, his new secretary. The comment section was brutal. Congrats to Mr. Carter on finding true love. Someone bring over the marriage office already. He should just divorce that scheming woman Ava. Ava was still showing off their love on social media today. This is such a slap in the face. Wait, people still don't know Ava forced her way into marriage with a one-night stand? So Jason had been with his new secretary tonight. I'd seen that girl before. She was 22, just graduated from college, young, pretty, and full of energy. More importantly, she was a perfect match for Jason's ideal type. They met at a campus recruitment fair. Jason had personally given a speech. She had guts. She was the first to raise her hand and ask a question. After the event, Jason picked her resume out from the stack and stared at it for a long time. Turns out, she only applied for the CEO's secretary position. Everyone knew Jason's team of secretaries held immense influence, and even the company's HR department had no authority over the position. Only he could make that call personally. Following the trail of comments, I found the girl's social media account. An hour ago, she posted a message, "Can't hold my liquor. Thank you to my kind boss for driving me home, hehe." In the photo, she was sitting in the passenger seat, Jason's hand on the steering wheel clearly in view. The next morning, as soon as Jason walked out of the room, I confronted him. "Do you have any shoots today?" "Why are you up so early?" he asked. "What were you doing last night?" "Team building dinner with the executive office." "A team building with the whole office, or just the two of you?" "What do you mean by that?" I shoved the trending post in front of him. Jason took a glance and said lightly, "The media twisted the facts again." "So there were 6 people at dinner yesterday, huh?" I asked, eyes fixed on him. "Should I believe you? Ava, don't be unreasonable. You know better than anyone how the media spins things." He wasn't wrong. In the current entertainment industry, there wasn't a single actress more hated than I was, and the media played no small part in that. But this wasn't about that. I looked him straight in the eye and asked, "Do you like her? That newly graduated secretary?" "I don't think she even likes you." But faced with my blunt question, Jason remained calm and composed. "And I don't like your baseless accusations. If you've got too much time on your hands, I'll have the finance department schedule more public appearances for you." He spoke to me like he was talking to a subordinate, not his wife. I said, "I remember your type, no taller than 5'7", long black hair, clean and fresh temperament, cheerful and full of energy. She checks every single box. And me? I don't match any of them. Jason looked irritated. Are you done? If you are, I'm heading to the office. Fine, go ahead, I said coldly. Today, I'll tell the media that Emma Parker is a homewrecker who's sleeping with a married man. Jason froze mid-step. When he turned to look at me again, there was actual anger in his eyes. She's only 22. She's just a kid. Are you really gonna ruin her life with lies? God knows how long it had been since I last saw Jason get angry. A man enraged over a woman, but the woman wasn't me. I stared at him. Jason, do you even remember how old I am? I just turned 25 yesterday. I'm only 3 years older than her. Did it ever hurt you to see how badly I was treated online? My feelings for Jason began when I was 18. I came from a single-parent family. During my senior year of high school, my mom got seriously ill and I couldn't afford college. After the college entrance exam, I started working at a bar to help pay for her treatment. It was a legitimate job. I didn't sell myself, but because of my looks, I was often harassed by male customers. The manager told me, "The customer is always right. If you don't like it, quit." But I couldn't afford to lose that job. One night, I ran into a particularly difficult man. How old are you, sweetheart? 18? So young. Are you just serving drinks here, or do you offer other services too? He and his buddies laughed, disgusting and lewd. Don't pretend, Uncle's not just rich, I'm very capable. Come with me tonight and I'll show you heaven and back. Disgusting. He was about to keep talking when suddenly a glass of liquor came crashing down on him, soaking him from head to toe. What the hell? Who did that? He shouted, stunned. Then he recognized who it was and froze. Mr. Carter, what's going on? Apologize to her, Jason said. That was the first time I heard Jason's voice. It was cool and crisp, like pearls dropping onto a jade plate. He was there on business, probably a meeting. And if not for work, I doubted he would have stepped foot in a place like that. He simply didn't belong in that kind of world. Jason had no scent of alcohol or smoke on him. He stood there, cold and distant, like a god untouched by filth. After the man scurried away, Jason turned to me. Men like that don't deserve to work with me. You shouldn't have to put up with it either. Next time, fight back and protect yourself. I'll get fired, I muttered. He looked down at me. You really need the money, don't you? I nodded. My mom's sick. We need money for her treatment. What about school? I shook my head. No way I can afford tuition. I see. Surprisingly, he didn't show any pity, and honestly, I appreciated that. I didn't want anyone's pity. Then he handed me a number. This is my subordinate's contact info. You can reach out. Our company runs a charity project that helps underprivileged students. As long as your case checks out, you can apply for aid. He paused, then added, if you get the chance, you should go back and study. Later, I did apply. I received the aid. I paid for my mom's treatment, and there was still some money left. I repeated my senior year, and the second time, I made it into college. That's when I found out who he really was. Jason Carter, the legendary heir to the Carter Group, the uncontested giant in the entertainment industry, heir to a family wealth so vast it was terrifying. In my sophomore year of college, I saw him again for the second time. I gathered my courage and walked up Jason Carter. Mr. Carter, I said, thank you. He looked confused. You are? He didn't remember me. That night, the lighting had been dim. He hadn't really looked at me at all. Helping me was just a small act of kindness for him, nothing more. But it didn't matter. I would work hard. One day, I would stand beside him. A year later, I signed as an artist under Jason Carter's company. I finally had the chance to reach out to him openly. Mr. Carter, nice to meet you. He would never know how many years I had worked and struggled just for that one moment. I wasn't hoping for anything more. Just this was enough. But half a year ago, something happened. Something unexpected that completely changed our relationship. Jason and I had a wild night together. All I remember about that night is hazy. The company had hosted a banquet and many high-profile guests were in attendance. I drank too much. Jason did too. My assigned room was 606. I clearly remember going into room 606, but Jason was inside. I don't even recall how it started. We kissed. I was completely lost in it. So was he. There had always been rumors about Jason Carter, how he avoided women, how he strictly followed rules and etiquette. Some whispered that he might be gay. Others said he had certain physical issues. But that night proved all those rumors were false. Jason Carter, when unleashed, was overwhelming. The next morning, someone rang the doorbell. My legs were still weak when I stumbled over to open the door, my mind foggy from the hangover. I thought it was housekeeping, but it was the press. A swarm of cameras turned toward me. I froze. And just as I did, Jason walked out as well, shirtless, stepping into the frame before he even realized what was happening. The gossip about us exploded. The Carter family was known for its strict upbringing. They would never tolerate something so scandalous. Jason came to me and proposed marriage. Of course I said yes. The happiness hit me so fast and so hard that it overwhelmed all reason. I was so blinded, I didn't even stop to notice the scrutiny and cold distance in his eyes. He asked me, "Wasn't your room 909? No, I replied. It was 606. You must have seen it wrong. He paused for a moment, then said only 4 words, "As you wish." It wasn't until after the wedding that I understood the weight of those words. Jason had gone to the hospital the day after that night. The test showed traces of a drug, one of those drugs, the kind that strips away reason and leaves only raw desire. Illegal, yes, but not uncommon. So who drugged him? And the reporters, how did they show up right outside that room at that exact moment? Who called them? It all felt orchestrated, and I was the most likely suspect. Jason hadn't intended to marry me at first, but the scandal damaged the Carter family's reputation, their stocks plummeted, and the elders were furious. He had no choice but to take responsibility. I tried to explain myself. It wasn't me. I said it over and over again, but it had all been too perfect, too perfectly timed. Jason told me it was hard for him to believe me, and so, for the past 6 months of marriage, we've lived in separate rooms. He wouldn't even touch my hand, flinching away like I burned him. Still, I didn't give up. I believed that one day he would see through the misunderstanding, that he would tear down the wall between us. But now, I don't think I can wait any longer. Because Emma Parker has appeared. I once saw Jason staring at her resume as if trying to piece together her entire life from between the lines. He was so gentle, but not with me. After our fight, I packed my things and left the house. We didn't speak for days. He never came to look for me. A week later, I went to record a talk show. Jason was there too, along with his new secretary. We hadn't seen each other in days. When he noticed me, he merely nodded from afar, distant, indifferent. Emma followed closely at his side, curious about everything. She kept asking him questions, but I remembered Jason Carter absolutely hated people who were clueless at work. But with Emma, Jason was unusually patient. He explained everything to her in detail. A while later, he walked over to me. "Ava," he said, "I've already given you the title you wanted. Don't drag innocent people into this." After a week of silence, that's all he wanted to say to me? "Just a reminder," he added. I smiled bitterly. "Mr. Carter still believes I was the one who tipped off the reporters, don't you?" "Who else would it be?" I didn't say another word. There was no need. Disappointment poured through me, flooding both my heart and mind, making everything painfully clear. Jason was really good to his new assistant. She hadn't even finished her probation period, yet he let her appear on the show in his place. She was talkative, full of energy, stealing the spotlight. Then the host asked, "Emma, this is your first time on a show with the CEO's wife. Are you nervous?" Emma glanced at me. "What's there to be afraid of? I know there've been some nasty rumors out there. People say Ava used to work in a bar, that she's manipulative and scheming or whatever, but I think she's a really nice person. You shouldn't judge her unfairly." The entire studio froze. She had just said on live television, all my dark past out loud, and tried to defend me with it. Even the seasoned host was speechless from the awkwardness. He quickly changed the subject. "All right, let's move on. Ava, do you have any upcoming projects or plans you'd like to share with the audience?" "I do," I said with a calm smile. "I'm getting a divorce." Each word was firm, deliberate, and unmistakably clear. Jason, sitting below the stage, suddenly looked up. His eyes were wide with shock and disbelief. The studio fell into an unnatural silence. The host like he wanted to disappear on the spot, probably the most awkward moment in his entire career. "Why did you decide to make this choice?" he asked, stumbling. "You should ask Miss Emma," I said, throwing the question her way. Emma was completely caught off guard. She thought only she knew how to play innocent and manipulative. Too bad I preferred being direct. Everyone's seen the news lately, I continued. My husband's been having an inappropriate relationship with his subordinate. Tell me, what kind of man does that and still deserves to be kept around? I turned to the camera, smiled gracefully, and said, I don't like fighting over men. I've got better things to do, movies to shoot, shows to record. I don't need love to live a great life. As for men, if one doesn't behave, just get a new one. The moment I finished speaking, Jason seemed to snap out of it. He rushed forward and interrupted the broadcast, pulling me backstage. Ava, what the hell are you talking about? I'm not talking nonsense, I said, peeling his fingers off my wrist one by one. It was ironic. The man who flinched at my slightest touch now refused to let go of me. Jason Carter, I said clearly, listen carefully. Starting today, I, Ava Carter, am formally asking you for a divorce. Jason looked like the blood had drained from his face. You're just angry, aren't you? He said quietly. You think if you bring up divorce, I'll try to make it up to you? He nodded to himself. Fine, I'll make it up to you. It was wrong of me to ignore you for the past few days. I'm sorry. I'll get the PR team to clean up what happened during the show. No one in senior management will blame you. And if you don't like Emma, I'll remove her from the executive office. You don't need to, I cut in. Wake up, Jason. I'm not throwing a tantrum. I reached into my pocket and took out a folded piece of paper. A prepared divorce agreement. Look it over. If you don't have any objections, sign it now. The show had been live. Even though it was cut off midway, everything I said had already been broadcast without a hitch. I was trending instantly, but surprisingly, the comment section was supportive. This round goes to Ava. That Emma girl? Cringe beyond belief. Honestly, I've been meaning to say this. Whatever Ava did to get that marriage, she's still the legal wife. Deal with it. A bunch of people were online praising the mistress, calling it true love. What kind of messed up values were those? Some said they supported the wife divorcing but not leaving. Stay and forklift him straight. People couldn't stop talking about how savage I was. That Ava Carter really knows how to slap back. Her beauty on today's live stream, stunning. Is Jason Carter blind? Others were still speculating about Emma's identity. Because the very next day after the scandal broke, Jason both argued with me and rushed to issue an official clarification. The senior execs who attended the dinner all released photos, and the rumor got squashed just like that. But my interview seemed to confirm their affair all over again. Could someone like Jason Carter, a man known for being rigid and self-controlled, really cheat? Speculation ran wild. Suspicion, curiosity, endless online debate. Soon after, the company issued disciplinary action. Emma received a formal warning and was reassigned. People said Jason was trying to win me back. But was that really true? I knew Jason far too well. If any other employee had caused a scandal like this, it wouldn't have ended in a reassignment. It would have been immediate termination. Emma's punishment was light. That only meant he was still protecting her. I remembered the day we recorded that show. I had pulled out the divorce agreement, but Jason refused to sign it. I couldn't figure out what he was thinking, so I decided to send him a message. Jason, please send me the signed divorce papers when you're done. Let's set a date to finalize it. He called me back immediately. Shixie, haven't you made enough of a scene? Shixie. That was my childhood nickname. When I was little, I couldn't pronounce Ava properly and would say Shixie instead. My mom turned it into my pet name. Jason had always known it, but this was the first time he'd ever called me that. I kept my voice firm. I'm very serious about the divorce, Jason. Please don't waste my time. I'd like to move on and meet someone new. Someone new? His voice faltered. I gave you everything you ever wanted. Status, resources, connections, he said tightly. And you still want someone else? Shishi, you were my first, and you'll be my last. I don't know how to woo women, but I can promise you this. If you want it, the position of Mrs. Carter will always be yours. No one can take it from you. I replied, but what I've always wanted was never that. Jason seemed stunned, like he'd been punched in the chest. You still don't understand what it is I truly wanted from you. But it doesn't matter anymore, because I don't want it now. With that, I hung up. My best friend Lily, who also worked at the company, told me Jason had been in a foul mood lately. During meetings, he was constantly distracted. People are all talking behind the scenes, Lily said. They think you'll go back to him sooner or later. And honestly, Jason seems to believe that too. No wonder after I told him I wanted a divorce, he started contacting me every day. But then 3 days ago, he went cold again, so he was just waiting for me to give in. Fine. I'd give him exactly what he wanted. That Friday, I showed up at the company. The moment Jason saw me, his eyes lit up. You've changed your mind? I have, I said, slamming a thick folder of papers onto his desk. I'm not just here to finalize the divorce, I'm terminating my contract too. I had signed a 5-year contract with the company. This year marked the 5th. I won't be renewing, I added. Jason looked at me in disbelief. His jaw clenched. You're sure about this? Already found another agency. I didn't know which next he meant, my next career move or my next man, but I answered anyway. My calm, detached tone enraged him. Without another word, he grabbed a pen and signed both contracts. His signature was so forceful, the tip nearly tore through the paper. With the divorce agreement signed, the rest was simple. The day I got my divorce certificate, I felt completely free. That 7-year, one-sided crush had finally come to an end. As I admired the little red booklet, Jason said flatly, "Remember this day. You're the one who gave up everything that comes with the Carter name." I smiled. "Don't worry, I won't regret it." "I hope that's true," he said coldly, but when I looked up, I saw his eyes were red. What did that have to do with me? I had no time to waste. I threw myself into a new life right away. Of course, saying I wasn't hurt at all would be a lie. After all, I had once liked him so much. I worked so hard just to get closer to him. But sometimes, clarity comes in an instant. What hurt wasn't losing him, it was realizing how little I was worth in his eyes. Jason had once supported me financially, but thinking back now, I'd repaid every cent with all the work I did for the company over the years. A few days later, Lily told me she had resigned too. Shishi, if you're leaving, I'm leaving too. Men can't be trusted. But your best friend's not going anywhere. I was so touched, I nearly cried. Lily had been working behind the scenes in the entertainment industry for years, experienced, sharp, and capable. The two of us decided to start our own studio. It would take some time to prepare, so in the meantime, I agreed to appear on a variety show. It was a warm, emotional show where guests were asked to bring a few old items that held memories. After sifting through my belongings, I decided to bring my old backpack, the one I used during my repeat senior year. That bag carried a lot of weight, not just in books, but in memories. On the day of the shoot, Jason Carter showed up. I wasn't surprised. The appearance had been arranged back when I was still with the company. Apart from me, a few newly signed talents from the company were also on the show, and Jason had always preferred to oversee things personally. He stood behind the production crew, his eyes fixed on me. I pretended not to see him. Halfway through filming, it was my turn to present. I opened the old backpack and began taking items out one by one. "This is a gel pen," I said. "Back in senior year, I went through 2 or 3 of these every couple of days, solving endless practice questions. Oh, and this one, page 53. I'm sure we all remember that nightmare." Laughter. "And here's a notebook full of mistakes. I still have piles of these at home." Then I paused, my hand hovering over the last item. It was an old, yellowed diary. That diary had once been my most loyal listener. In the most difficult and exhausting days of my life, writing in it had been my only relief. My silence dragged on, prompting one of the other guests to lean in curiously. "Is there a secret in that notebook? Come on, no hiding, it's against the rules." He took the diary and opened it to a random page. September 2016. "Teacher said the intensity of the repeat class will be too much for most students, but I have to stick with it because I want to see Jason Carter." The room went completely silent. November 2016. "Just finished the monthly exam. My score was terrible, I feel awful, but Jason said it's important to study. I'll go do some more practice questions." December 2016. Saw a news article about Jason Carter. "He's lost some weight. He's so amazing. I need to work even harder." February 2017. Came to Beijing for the art school entrance exam. It's snowing. I sat outside Jason Carter's company for a while before going to the test center. After I stood up, snowflakes covered the chair where I had been sitting, like I'd never been there at all. June 2017. Tomorrow is the college entrance exam. Jason Carter, wait for me. June 2017. I got accepted. I'm so happy. I left a comment under Jason Carter's Weibo, but he probably won't see it. August 2017. Just daydreaming a little. If I could ever be with Jason Carter, I would whisper "I love you" in his ear every single day. The paper was worn and faded. Every stroke of the pen was a piece of my truest, most heartfelt teenage devotion. All the guests turned to look at me. I gave a small laugh and explained how I'd met Jason briefly, when I was 18. Isn't that how it is when we're young and in love? I smiled. One guest asked, "So, after you married him, did you really tell him every day that you loved him?" I did, I replied. Every single day. I'd tell him I loved him. But he always thought I said it to manipulate him, that I only wanted status, that it wasn't real. I paused, looking down. Every time I confessed, he'd just look at me and say, "Do you even believe that yourself?" All those moments, all those years, in the end, they dissolved into quiet acceptance. I lifted my chin and smiled gently. He never believed me. Behind the lights, Jason Carter stared at me in disbelief. He rarely posted on social media, but that evening, he scrolled through his old Weibo posts. And soon he found it, a comment from 6 years ago. Someone had written, "I got accepted to a school in Beijing. Wait for me, please. I'll stand where you can see me." The username was Shikshi. To chase after someone with your whole heart. After I debuted, I stopped using that account. All that was left was the verified Ava Carter page with the little red badge. After filming Wrapped, Lily came to pick me up, but Jason stopped me. "Shikshi, can I see that diary?" I didn't expect to say yes, but I did. "Sure." Jason flipped through it slowly, reading page after page in silence. "I'm sorry, Shikshi," he finally said, voice rough. "I was a jerk. A real jerk. I messed up." "It's okay," I said lightly. "I don't like you anymore anyway." The brighter my smile, the darker Jason's expression became. "Shikshi, can you come back to me?" he asked. Jason Carter, once so high and mighty, now looked humbled. "I came to find you today," he continued. "Since you left, I haven't been okay. At first I didn't understand why. Then, I realized, I can't fall asleep without rereading all the texts you used to send me." He lowered his head, like a child who knew he'd done wrong. "You like pink. You like Arctic shrimp, but you don't eat too much because you're always watching your weight. You watch food shows while eating, and you sneak in sugar-free milk tea when your agent isn't looking." He laughed softly. "Unbelievable, right? But I remember all of it, everything about you. I used to think remembering those things was just part of my duty as your husband, but now I know the truth. It wasn't out of duty. It was because I liked you." A confession, years in the making, delivered far too late, but my heart felt nothing. "Shikshi, I've never truly loved anyone," he said. "I realized it too late. But can you give me another chance?" Jason's hand trembled. There was something like pleading in his eyes. I smiled and gently took back the diary, and right in front of him, while he was still hoping, I tore it to pieces. The shredded pages fluttered like snow. "I can't," I said. Jason, clearly guilt-ridden, started sending me offers through Lily, resources, roles, opportunities. I didn't play coy. It was business, after all. No reason to waste it. But I often found myself thinking about the last thing Jason said to me that day. I had asked him, "Does Emma know you said all that?" "She's nothing to do with this," he replied. "I've always seen her as a little sister." "Well then, I wish you two siblings a lifetime of happiness." "Shikshi, you really misunderstood." Jason let out a sigh. "Emma's background is a bit complicated. I still need to look into it more before I can tell you anything." He paused for a long moment before finally saying 3 words. "Ryan Carter." Of course I knew Ryan. He was Jason's sworn brother, closer than blood. When Jason took over the company at 22, he faced heavy opposition. Ryan had stood by his side, helping him secure his place on the board and stabilize the Carter empire. 3 or 4 years ago, Jason was ambushed by a rival company. There was a car crash. Ryan had shielded him with his own body. He died from his injuries. I'd heard colleagues say that Jason hadn't been the same since. Cold, harsh, emotionless. "What are you daydreaming about?" Lily waved a hand in front of my face on set. "I was thinking about someone," I murmured. "Jason?" "No, Ryan Carter." Lily froze, stunned into silence. "Why him all of a sudden?" Her expression dimmed, oddly out of character. That shift told me something was off. "Lily, did you know Ryan?" She lowered her head, a small smile playing at her lips. Yeah. He died before you and I got close, she said softly. So I never really mentioned it. She rubbed her fingers across a ring on her hand. Her eyes were misty. This engagement ring, Ryan gave it to me. I was stunned. So stunned I couldn't speak for a long time. Lily sniffled and said quickly, Sorry, Shiksi, I wasn't trying to hide anything. I never really moved on. It still hurts to talk about him. That's why I never told you. No, I'm the one who should apologize, I said. I didn't mean to press on an old wound. Come on, I added gently, reaching out to hug her. Let's go. I once asked Lily, You've been single forever, why do you act like you're totally done with dating? She just laughed and said, This way those lousy men won't bother flirting with me. Turns out, there was sadness hiding behind that smile. After a moment of silence, she steadied her emotions and said, Enough about me. Tell me why you suddenly brought up Ryan. I was just wondering, could Emma be related to him somehow? Lily didn't look surprised. It was like she'd already suspected the same thing. Shikshi, honestly, I've thought about that too, she said. The way Jason looks after Emma, it made me wonder. She paused, but I can't be sure, Ryan never told me anything. Lily began to recall the past. Ryan didn't get along with his father. One night, he got drunk and told me, Lily, I will never become a man like him. He favored sons over daughters. He abandoned his wife and daughter. I hate him for it. At the time, she'd thought it was just drunk talk. She hadn't looked deeper. I asked, Do you think Emma looks like Ryan? Lily hesitated. No. Not really. Then it hit me. But you and Ryan were engaged. You must have met his family, right? That's true, she said, then added, But Ryan's father passed away last year. The Ruo family is nearly gone. All that's left is his grandmother. She's in her 80s and mentally unstable. Just as we were talking, my phone rang. It was Jason. Shiksi, the thing I told you I was investigating, there's finally some progress. Lily and I exchanged a look. Emma really was Ryan's sister. We headed straight back to Beijing. Honestly, I didn't care much who Emma really was, but Lily did, and I had to be there for her. In a private room at an upscale restaurant, Emma sat beside Jason, smiling sweetly as we arrived. Ava, she said, I just started working. I'm not great at talking, and I know I upset you before. I hope you're not still mad at me? Lily gave me a look. Her expression clearly said, This girl is the queen of fake innocence. I ignored her and got straight to the point. So what's going on? Jason looked at us and said, When Ryan passed, he told me he had 2 regrets. He turned to Lily. The first was you. I've already told you what he wanted me to say, that he hoped you could forget him and find happiness in this life. Lily bit her lip hard. I could see how hard she was fighting back tears. Under the table, I held her hand for support. The second regret, Jason said, voice dimmer now, was not being able to find his little sister. Talking about Ryan clearly weighed on Jason too. Ryan's father was a deeply superstitious man, Jason continued. When his younger daughter was born, a fortune teller said the girl's fate would harm the mother. Since he already favored boys over girls, he decided the baby had to go. The nanny opposed him, Jason said. She cried every day. The whole house was in constant conflict. Then when his wife got sick and was hospitalized, Ryan's father took the chance to bring the 3-year-old girl to another city and abandon her. Because of that, the mother's illness worsened, and she passed away full of resentment. That's where Ryan's hatred for his father began. But he was young. He couldn't do anything about it at the time. Only after he built his career could he start looking for her. But no matter what he tried, he could never find her. All signs pointed to the girl being dead. Ryan had held on to that regret until his last breath. He told Jason this secret and asked, If I'm gone one day, and you somehow find my sister, please take care of her. That was his final wish. Jason had never forgotten it. Eventually, after years of searching, Emma appeared. Her age matched. Her background matched. Jason had studied her resume over and over, and the more he looked, the more convinced he became. Wait a second, I cut in. If she was abandoned as a child, why would her surname still be Ruo? Emma answered softly, Because I had this. She pulled out a small silver longevity locket. Carved into it was the character Ruo. When my adoptive parents found me, this locket was already around my neck, Emma said, as she gently held up the silver pendant. What about other proof? I asked, Did you do a DNA test? I couldn't, she replied pitifully. Ava, don't you remember? My brother and both my parents are already gone. As she spoke, Emma inched closer to Jason and looked up at him. Ava, are you doubting me? Don't you believe in the spiritual connection of blood ties? Ever since I was a kid, I kept having the same dream. In it, I had a brother a few years older than me, a father who didn't like me, and a mother who was always sick. I twitched my lips, unimpressed. And you, Jason, you believe this? Of course not blindly, Jason said. You know I'm always thorough. What really convinced me in the end was her memory. Her recollections of the house layout were almost entirely accurate. Emma's eyes flashed with a trace of smugness. Lily and I exchanged a look. If she could even recall that, it was hard to argue. But, fortunately, we still had one last card to play. I smiled gently. Well then, for peace of mind, we should still do a proper paternity test. Emma frowned. Ava, didn't you hear me? My brother and parents are gone. But your grandmother is still alive, isn't she? I said sweetly. Right, Lily? Exactly. Lily gave a bright smile. I'm still in touch with Ryan's grandmother. I called her before we came here. At that, Emma went stiff all over. She scrambled for an excuse. I've been really busy lately. Going to the hospital for testing isn't convenient right now. Your grandmother is your only remaining family, I said, still smiling. Shouldn't you be more excited? If I were you, I'd be desperate to meet her as soon as possible. She faltered, unable to find a response. Rather than face a potential family reunion, Emma would rather be seen as ungrateful. The guilt and hesitation were obvious. Jason's brow furrowed. Something's off. Exactly, I said calmly. If she really had nothing to hide, she wouldn't be dodging the test. I pinched my fingers together and plucked a strand of long, straight black hair from the seat Emma had just been sitting in. Among the four of us, only she had that hairstyle. I know you wouldn't usually stoop to something like this, I said to Jason. You're a man of principle, and you'd never do a test without someone's consent. But her grandmother wants the truth. I carefully sealed the strand in a sample bag and, just in case, wiped down the utensils she had used to collect DNA traces. Better safe than sorry. Jason, could you handle the delivery for the test? I asked. 7 days later, the results came back. No biological relation whatsoever. The lies shattered instantly. All her stories about dreams, memories, emotional instincts, they were all fake. Jason was furious. He kicked Emma out of the company on the spot and had her blacklisted across the entire industry. It didn't take long for the media to catch wind of it. And once it hit the press, Emma became the target of a full-scale internet takedown. The girl who had once been praised to the skies as pure and sweet was now being dragged through the mud as a lying, manipulative fraud. The backlash was relentless, vicious even. After 3 straight days of public outcry, the fire finally began to die down. I thought the whole mess was finally over. But on the morning of the 4th day, Lily's call jolted me awake. Get up. Something huge just broke. Huge? I rubbed my eyes. What is it? Emma's former best friend just came out and spilled everything. Girl, your name's been cleared. The sleep vanished from my body in an instant. Emma was trending again. Her ex-best friend had posted a long exposé online, a detailed breakdown of every horrible thing Emma had done over the years. And the very first point? The so-called memories of Ryan's home layout. Which was strange because Emma wasn't Ryan Carter's sister. How could she have known the layout of the Carter family home? The answer was finally here. Emma's former best friend revealed that her own mother had worked as a housekeeper in the Carter household for over 20 years. She knew every nook and cranny of the place. Emma had secretly called her once, asking in detail about the home's address and decor from over 2 decades ago. The woman, long retired and unsuspecting, told her everything. That was the first bombshell. The second? Emma actually had parents, both farmers. She looked down on their poverty, severed ties with them completely, and even went so far as to tell people she was an orphan. But the third revelation was even more explosive. 6 months ago, Emma had purchased illegal drugs. In a series of leaked chat screenshots, she boasted to her so-called best friend, "Hey, if I sleep with Jason Carter, do you think he'll take responsibility?" Her friend hesitated. "That's not okay. That's illegal. You can't drug him." Emma replied, "He won't even know. As long as you don't say anything, how would he find out?" The friend tried again. "But You work at that hotel. You want me to give you access to his room? That's a crime. Emma threatened. Didn't you say you were getting married? You really want your boyfriend to know what happened to you back then? About being assaulted? Reading that, I started to feel sorry for the friend. Emma had been blackmailing her all along. Clearly fed up, the girl finally snapped. Can you just stop bringing that up? But Emma didn't back down. Then help me. Come on, it's not that hard. The entitled tone of her demands made my blood boil. Her final message. What if Jason won't take responsibility? Then I'll threaten him. I've already set up hidden cameras in the room. I'll call the press too. Let's see how he handles that. That was where the screenshots ended. The friend's post closed with these words. I can't take this anymore. Even if it means exposing my own past, I refuse to let her keep lying. I want to apologize to Mr. Carter and Miss Carter, especially Ava. When the internet was attacking you, I felt guilty every single day. That night, Mr. Carter was drunk and went to the wrong room. I had no idea Ava had gone in too. When the reporters came, I panicked and flipped the doorplate numbers, hoping to cover it up. I thought if they didn't go to 909, they'd find Emma in 606 and still have something to photograph. I didn't think it through. That mistake dragged me into this whole mess. The post went viral instantly, dominating the trending topics. Both Emma and her former friend were taken into custody for investigation. Emma was facing serious legal consequences, possibly jail time. But for me, what mattered most was that my reputation had made a full turnaround. The top comment under the news read, "Everyone who accused Ava of scheming her way into marriage, get your sorry asses over here and apologize." I scrolled through the flood of comments, thrilled. Then Lily sent me a message. Good news, Jason Carter finally broke down. That very day, he realized the truths he'd clung to for so long were all lies. Lies that he had used to justify treating me coldly, hurting me, and pushing me away. And now, with the truth exposed, he realized he still loved me, so much that it overwhelmed him. No wonder he snapped. Jason started chasing me, openly and obsessively. He began showing up at every single event I appeared in, like a man possessed. The media dragged him through the mud. He's turned into a simping lapdog. All that carefully built-up prestige, gone. But he didn't care. He kept following me, everywhere. Even when I went home to visit my mom, Jason put work on hold and came along. To be fair, my mom's recovery was largely thanks to Jason. During our marriage, he had always treated her kindly. Despite my protests, my mom insisted he stay for dinner. Jason, I'm really thankful, she said warmly. You've helped a lot of people through your charity work. But then she added with a smile, still, since you and Shikshi are no longer together, you don't need to call me Mom. Her tone was gentle, but her words hit Jason like a slap. Still, he didn't back down. Mom, he said firmly, I want to remarry Shikshi. Please give us your blessing. Oh my, she muttered, flustered. That depends on Shikshi. It's not up to me, my mom said calmly. Jason lowered his head. He was a smart man. He could tell that my mother had no intention of helping him. Shikshi may be my adopted daughter, she continued. But all these years, she's been my daughter in every way that matters. What mother wants to see her child get hurt? I had found out I wasn't her biological daughter when I was 18. She was sick, and I had wanted to get tested to donate for her. But when we ran tests at the hospital, they told me we weren't related. So what? We were even closer than birth mother and daughter. Shikshi used to love you so much, my mom said with a soft smile. I still remember how her eyes would light up whenever she mentioned your name. Jason turned to look at me. But you hurt her, my mom said gently. And as her mother, I'm asking you, if she doesn't want this anymore, please don't push her. Let her go, okay? Jason's eyes turned red, but he said nothing. After dinner, he left quietly. Back inside, it was just me and Mom. I curled up next to her like a child and asked, Mom, what did you think when you first saw me? You were beautiful, she laughed. Your eyes were like little grapes. The orphanage director said you'd just been found and didn't remember anything. I was looking for a little girl to bring home, and then there you were. See, we were meant to be, I said with a grin. She asked, do you really have no memory at all? I shook my head. None. If I had to recall something, I murmured, maybe just a faint shadow, a hazy figure. My birth mother, maybe. She seemed gentle too. That night, I stayed at home. The next morning, I went out to take out the trash and was stunned to find Jason still there, sitting on the stairs, slumped and exhausted, surrounded by cigarette butts. Jason never smoked. The Carter family strictly forbade it. It was one of their most ironclad rules. Seeing the confusion on my face, he spoke first. "Learned it after the divorce," he rasped. His voice was hoarse. "I'm not here to bother you," he added quickly. "The weather's terrible, all the flights are grounded. Let me drive you back to Beijing." "No need," I replied flatly. "I'll leave when the weather clears." I turned around to close the door, just as Lily called me. "Shixi, emergency." My heart clenched. "What's wrong?" "It's Ryan's grandmother," she said, clearly panicked. She collapsed. Ryan's grandmother had always lived alone, far from the city, ever since her children passed. All her loved ones were gone, and she had no one left by her side. That kind of loneliness could break anyone. She'd left Beijing to live out her last years in peace. Now she was back in the hospital. Lily couldn't handle it all on her own. I had to help. Some things are too urgent to argue over. I got in Jason's car and returned to the city. When we arrived at the hospital, we learned that her condition was critical, extremely so. The hallway outside the ICU was full of hurried staff and serious expressions. Jason stepped forward to ask, but the doctor shook his head. "There's a chance she might survive if we operate," he said. "But she's over 80, it's a huge risk, we can't guarantee anything." "Please, just try," Lily pleaded. "We'll sign the forms, just, please try." "It's not that we don't want to," the doctor said reluctantly, "but her blood type is Rh negative. Our entire blood bank is out of it. Transporting from another city would take too long." Jason and Lily both went pale. The doctor handed over a consent form. "Start preparing yourselves." "Wait," I suddenly raised my hand. "I think I have that blood type." The surgery went smoothly. When it was done, the doctor came out with a rare smile. "The patient is stable for now," he said. "She'll need to stay for observation, but things are looking much better." We all let out a breath of relief. Then the doctor looked at me again, this time more carefully. "There's one more thing," he said. "We just received a report from the lab. According to the blood work, ma'am, it appears that you and the patient may be biologically related." The hospital room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Jason's voice trembled. "You mean, there's a chance we can do further testing?" The doctor nodded. "There's a high probability." Lily finally caught on. "Shixi, you're Ryan's sister." She was so overwhelmed she could barely hold on to the medical chart. I sat there stunned, my mind blank for a long moment. "Then let's do another test," I said softly. A thread of memory began to untangle in my mind. I had been 3 when the orphanage director found me. Ryan's sister had also been 3 when she was abandoned. Because of the urgency and the unique nature of the situation, we requested an expedited DNA test. The hospital pushed it through, and by the next day, the results came in. The test confirmed it. I was indeed biologically related to Ryan's grandmother. I was in shock. So was Lily. Jason remained silent for a long time. Eventually, Lily cupped my cheeks in her hands. "Don't move," she whispered. "Let me look at you." I blinked at her. "What are you looking at?" She studied me for what felt like ages. In her eyes, I could see something shifting, like she was seeing someone she loved return after a long time. "No wonder I felt so drawn to you when we first met," she said through tears. "I just wanted to be your friend." Then she broke down, sobbing as she hugged me tightly. "Shixi, we were meant to be sisters." Lily eventually cried herself out and went to lie down for a bit. It was just me and Jason left in the room. I was still a little weak from donating blood. Jason sat quietly beside me, peeling an apple. His face was expressionless, but the slight tremble in his hands betrayed his emotions. I cleared my throat. Startled, he jerked the knife and accidentally nicked his finger. "If you want to say something," I said, my voice weak, "just say it." Jason's eyelashes fluttered. "I failed Ryan," he said quietly. "She was right here all along and I never realized it." He paused. "Not only did I not realize it, I even stomped all over what he held dearest." He couldn't bring himself to finish the sentence. Instead, he reached for another apple and started peeling it again, slower this time, each movement deliberate and heavy. I sat there in silence until I heard a quiet, choked sob escape from him. 2 months later, life gradually returned to normal. Grandma was discharged from the hospital. Finding me had lifted her spirits. and with a lighter heart, her health improved too. My mom and grandma finally met. Though they had never known each other, they hit it off instantly. Grandma took to calling my mom daughter right away, insisting on treating her like family. Meanwhile, my personal studio officially launched, with Lily as my manager. Jason continued sending resources my way, never asking for anything in return. He did everything he could for me, quietly, respectfully. For the first time in my life, I felt fulfilled. I juggled acting and study, and everyone around me was growing and thriving. That was when the accident happened. I had gone out of town for a promotional event. Jason followed, as he always did when he had time. He never imposed, he'd sit quietly in the audience, never crossing the line. Because of that, I didn't think too much about it. At this event, just like before, Jason sat in the crowd, not too far, not too close, just watching. Halfway through the program, a man suddenly interrupted the host mid-sentence. "What's the deal with the second female lead's recent scandal?" The man wore a dark mask and hat, looking suspicious from the start. The second female lead was a popular idol with a massive fan base. Just a few days earlier, paparazzi had photographed her holding hands with a male celebrity as they entered a hotel together. The host tried to defuse the situation. "Sorry, sir, we're not in the Q&A segment yet." "Are you seriously dating someone?" the man shouted. "I spent money on you. Are you cheating on us with some other guy?" His voice grew louder, more unhinged. Security rushed over, but it was already too late. The man suddenly pulled a suspicious-looking bottle from his bag and, in a frenzy, hurled its contents toward the stage. Die. I was the female lead, standing right next to the second lead actress, far too close. "It's acid. Watch out." With that warning, screams erupted across the venue. I was in heels and tried to run, but I stumbled and fell hard. Just as the acid was about to hit me, a strong, broad embrace shielded me from the front. Jason had rushed onto the stage without anyone noticing. He held me tightly, shielding me completely. The liquid splashed across his suit, burning through the fabric instantly, and some hit his exposed skin as well. But Jason didn't even flinch, as if he couldn't feel the pain at all. He was entirely focused on me. "Shikshi, don't be scared, I'm here." Security finally subdued the man, but the scene was chaotic. Jason and the other injured were rushed to the hospital. The doctors later said that the damage to his skin couldn't be reversed. From now on, there would be visible scars on his arms and behind his ear. When I went to visit him, the nurse at the front desk recognized me. "You're Shei-Fuyu, right? You're even more beautiful in person than on TV." "Thank you," I replied politely. "Is your name also Shishi?" I straightened up slightly. "Yes, why do you ask?" "Mr. Zhang keeps calling your name in his sleep," she explained. "That's how I guessed it was you." Seeing my confusion, she added, "He seems to have had trouble sleeping for a long time. Even when he manages to doze off, he keeps murmuring your name, and every time he wakes up, he asks if Shei-Fuyu has come to see him." Her voice softened. "He really misses you." I stood outside his room, hesitating for a moment before walking in. Jason was asleep. On his bedside table was an old, worn notebook, the very same diary I had torn to pieces. Jason had carefully glued each page back together. Shikshi, don't be afraid. I'll protect you." He slept fitfully as if trapped in a nightmare. His forehead was damp with sweat. But as soon as his hand brushed mine, his entire body seemed to calm down. I sat quietly beside him and whispered, "I came to say goodbye. I'm leaving. Once the studio relocates to Shanghai, I'll be spending more time there." Jason didn't wake up. His long lashes fluttered gently, his closed eyes giving the illusion he was listening to every word. "Thank you, Jason," I said softly. He was the one who had pulled me from the mud and showed me a reason to move forward. He had once been the light of my youth, my dream. But now, I was headed toward something greater. Gently, I slipped my hand from his. Jason's fingers twitched slightly, as if reluctant to let go. I opened the last page of the reconstructed diary and wrote 5 simple words. "Goodbye, Jason. Thank you." When he wakes up and sees them, he'll understand. Being able to smile and say goodbye, that's the best kind of ending. The end.